Welcome, everybody, to the second season of the Outbreak podcast. We are so excited that you are here because we recorded some great conversations this year at the 2024 edition. And if this is your first time listening to this podcast, go ahead and check out the conversations that we had last year at the 2023 edition because they're all worthwhile. They're evergreen in nature. You can listen to them whenever you want. Exciting updates for this year. One, it's on video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. If you're listening to this on the podcast, welcome. Know that you have options to either watch it or listen to it. We don't care how you consume it, but share it with your friends, share it with anybody who wasn't at the festival that wants to have a vibe, so to speak, and understand the different discussions that happen there. All of that is very, very appreciated. So first off, huge shout out to the Outbreak team. I think they accomplish pretty incredible things in Manchester, bringing all these bands together and having it as big as it is. I mean, honestly, I think there was like 9,000 people this year. I don't even know. I'm just kind of making up numbers. But from my observation, that's probably around the ballpark. And the fact it is a celebration of all styles of independent music because, you had Action Bronson headlining on Friday, you had American Football headlining on Sunday, and then you had Have Heart headlining on Saturday. All of these are incredibly important bands of all different shapes and sizes, and that's why I think this festival is truly unique and special. And no, they're not paying me to say that. This is merely my observations. But some other news and notes. The 2025 edition will be announced relatively soon, so just keep your ears to the ground. And absolutely, I encourage you, if you have never been, to think about going because it is an incredible experience and it's a great, great city to visit. Manchester in the summer is absolutely beautiful. I've been there multiple times now, and I cannot recommend it enough. Also, if you want to go to the autumn edition, you need to get tickets. And the autumn edition, it's just a one-night thing, but we have the stories so far: Citizen, Speed, Angel Dust, Fucked Up, Fleshwater, Narrowhead, Horse Jumper of Love. End It. It is a great, great lineup, and I encourage you to go check out Outbreak-fest.co.uk, and you will be able to purchase tickets there. It's at the BEC Arena in Manchester, so you need to go. That's just what's going to happen. You're going to go, and you're going to really enjoy yourself. So highly encourage anybody in that area, or if you want to travel, obviously no one's going to stop you. So this is the first episode of the second season, like I mentioned, and I am incredibly honored to bring on the gents in Thursday. And let's give a special shout out to two of the members who obviously did this. It is Geoff, the vocalist of Thursday, and Norm, the guitarist of Thursday. Norm also does Antimatter Fanzine, and he also played in Texas Is the Reason, amongst many other bands. But we had a really, really insightful conversation about a lot of different things. And we were able to bring up some things about, businesses they wanted to run and just their experience of being a band that is, now just releasing new music for the first time in 17 years or something. They just released a new song, and I was able to watch their whole set, and absolutely incredible. So if you can do a favor, first of all, support the sponsors for this particular season. We have Squarespace and Betterhelp, amazing companies. They do great stuff. And if you support them, it supports this particular show. It supports the festival, and everybody wins from that side of things. So support the sponsors there. Also, second thing, subscribe and spread the word where you can. So whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever it is, leave a rating and review. All that stuff helps the algorithm. We really appreciate all of that sort of stuff. And you can also email the podcast at outbreak-fest.co.uk for any ideas, concerns, whatever it is you want to reach out about. Please do that. So here we go. Let's talk to Geoff and Norm from Thursday.
Hey, I'm Geoff, and I sing in the band Thursday. I'm Norman. I play guitar in Thursday.
True pros. That's all we need. All right, we're done here. Thanks, guys. Great. I'm just kidding. It's always fun to do these as just an excuse to hang out with you guys for another half an hour formally. But what is fun to watch from afar is the fact that you guys are being like, playing shows, we're not really a band again, but then we'll put out a song and then we'll just see what's happening. is it fun for you to just kind of be like, whatever, being open to the universe, as it were, to see where the beast that is Thursday, and I mean that in a good way, where it takes this?
Yeah, it's it's lasted for so long at this point that we're off the map that I had in my head for the band, which used to scare me. And now I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, we've lasted over 25 years. The future is this beautiful, wide open gift. If you stay true to yourself and have fun and be open to it, like, it could be something great. You just don't know what it is yet, And so that's been a really nice change.
And then you're like to that point, the pressure that obviously exists, we're a part of the machine, as it were, to be like, we need to do this because of reasons A, B, and C. Now you're like, oh, we don't need to do these things because of A, B, and C.
And there's always like reasons why you have to do one thing or another, so we still sometimes end up getting talked into things we don't want to do.
Sure.
But I think we all have a better attitude about it, and we have a willingness to be like, no, not that one, sorry. So that helps.
I feel like I've been getting very existential with it, like being like, what is a band? And why do we have to do everything the way people have always done it? It just seems like making it up as you go along, that's what the creative process is. So if you extend that over into the way you handle your business or you handle your existence as a band, I think that's also creative. That's exciting.
Yeah. There are a lot of aspects of being in a band that are actually quite formulaic. You just don't think about it because they're in the behind the scenes aspects. So yeah, it becomes a creative action to be like, we'll do this instead,
Right.
Even just deciding that from here on out we're DIY and we don't want to deal with labels anymore or publishers doesn't really make a big difference to the outside world, but for us it's a new adventure.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, and then
an old adventure come back as a new adventure. I don't know, maybe.
It's new in the sense that there's no, I don't necessarily know that we talk about sort of like what the end game is.
Right.
It's just like, what's good now?
Yeah, what's good now?
Right. Well, and
now's enough.
Right. Yeah.
we don't need to project this far in the future, but it's like the articulation of that, I think, is important because we all are slaves to the idea of the way things that should be, especially even in the context of punk and hardcore. I mean, it's like you write about it on almost, weekly basis of just being like, we don't need to do things the way that they happened because that's literally in the ethos of punk and hardcore. And so the fact that you can be like, yeah, we're in a band, but we don't have to do all the things that we used to do because it literally is a new era for bands to be like, yeah, I'm going to play 5 shows a year and then I'll put out music every 5 years. And we're like, okay, well, it's not bad.
Right. I mean, we just played with Incendiary, who only tour occasionally when they feel like it, or when they can. They all are very like, we like our jobs and we're happy to have them. There's a lot of bands that, want to do the like, let's tour 10 months out of the year thing, but that shouldn't be the standard by which every band operates. Like, there should be room for variety of models.
That's easy.
And it's, no matter which model you're in, it's like, it's tricky to figure out.
Yeah, that thing's like, all right, here's our bottle. We're good now, right? Like, we don't need to make any other decisions after this.
This podcast is sponsored by Squarespace. I love this company so much. I was excited that they wanted to support this particular endeavor because you probably noticed, like in some of these interviews, we're talking to the band members about their side hustles, whether it's obviously the band that they're doing or whether it's the fact that, they're selling old band merch or they published a book, whatever it is that you are into and you want to share with the world, that's where Squarespace comes into play. That's why I love this company so much, because whether you are just starting out or managing a growing brand, Squarespace makes it so easy to create a beautiful website, engage with your audience, and then sell anything that you would like all on one platform. They have amazing, amazing templates that you can use, and you don't need to know code at all. Trust me, because I don't know how to use code, and I was able to sign up and use this to display my own personal website, and it was so easy. Within, I would say 15, 20 minutes, had a fully functional website, all these cool little features, and it's an incredibly intuitive platform. So Let me give you 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain by using squarespace.com/outbreak. Again, that's 10% off of your first purchase of a website or a domain by going to squarespace.com/outbreak. I'll have it listed down here, so you'll obviously be able to see that. And then if you're listening to it, you can type in the words, right? Anyways, squarespace.com/outbreak. Thank you, Squarespace, for supporting this show and independent music in general.
A fun question that will pick out a little bit of your personalities. I almost know the answer to each of you, or for each of you, to this particular question, but I obviously will still ask you. If I were to wake up tomorrow morning, be instantly rich, and give you guys each, whatever, million, billion, doesn't matter. Number is irrelevant. And you would open up a retail. Doesn't have to be like, all right, I'm selling something. You could be selling your services. You could be like, yeah, I want to be a landscape architect, whatever the case may be. If I were to do that to you, what's your first response? And obviously, no wrong answers. Interpretations. What would you say if I posed that to you?
I mean, I know for me, like, honestly, like, the thing that I always think about doing is I want to help other people write songs, or like find that thing about music that turns them on. That's like the only thing I really care about, like, creatively. I mean, like, writing is obviously something that I love to do, like, and I do that a lot. but writing music, to me, I just feel like there's just a real something out of nothing feeling that comes from it that I want other people to experience in the way that I experience it. And if I could do anything to facilitate that, it would make me really happy.
This is like the worst comparison possible. I see a Build-A-Bear workshop with songwriting. Just
a bear and a song would be sick.
I mean, we don't have, the bear is just a bad comparison, but it's just like that. I mean, you can.
We're into the bears. That's love bears.
Boogie bears. But just that idea where it's like someone could literally like go into a store at a mall or whatever and be like, here's what it feels like in some version of like taking something creative and putting it to tape or whatever it is. Right. I love that idea.
Well, I know Geoff's done it before. I've done it where, just random people will DM me and just say, here's some songs. What do you think? And it's always interesting when that happens. And I'll listen to it and give them like my honest critique or some suggestions or whatever. And then they'll come back with like second drafts. And I love it. I mean, that's like such a real, that turns me on.
Yeah, no, I love that. So songwriting, Build-A-Bear, that's perfect.
Yes.
What about yourself, Geoff? What would you do with the $1 billion I just gave you?
Well, I mean, for me, the money really does matter. I said $1 million or million. Scale is so important.
Fortunately, it's infinite and it's hypothetical. So we can paint with a very broad brush.
Well, it's funny that you're asking the two of us who actually did run a record label together.
I know the irony is lost on me.
If it was $1 billion,
please let's go.
I'd restart the record label along the model that we had, which was that every band should want to be at the label. That if you're unhappy, you can take your masters at any time, not repay whatever we spent on you, but just take it, because I had this vision that if we just did a really great job, people would just want to be with us. They'd want to be part of the collective that we're developing. And it's really fun to give artists money. So with $1 billion, I'd feel pretty good about giving a lot of artists money. Also, I just think, if I was able to do it with a better budget and bring in the people that I know which one of my friends, like having Norman involved, one of the best things I ever did. Having Sean, who was doing our graphic, best things I ever did. But like, I know even more people that are really good at what they do and would be able to really help young artists. You know what I mean? And there are artists here at this festival this weekend that we were able to help. Artists like Touche Amore, artists like Nothing, Hotelier. Like, there's a bunch, and I really believe that like anytime you can help a younger artist find themselves or help them have the confidence to go to the next thing that they were going to try and do. Because I think it's really easy to get stuck in I can kind of do this one thing, but will anybody take a chance on me trying something new? In some ways, I like the idea that the label could have been like almost like a grant writer for artists to try new things and give them some freedom. So yeah, with $1 million, I'd start like some other fun shop. I'd like start a perfume shop or something. I'd do something weird.
Oh yeah.
But with $1 billion, I'd be like, where are all my artists at? Like, let's go. Let's go. Like, the candy store is open. Let's go.
This is the Jeff Rickley endowment. We're granting money all over the place
This
for good arts.
The Ray Harkins, Jeff Wrigley endowment for the...
Right. Your name, my funds. It could be the Rickley Harkins.
Some of this is sounding really familiar in a way that scares me.
I know. I do not mean to reach out. I promise this comes from a very good place. I'm not. This fortunately is not money that is obtained via other circumstances.
Oh yeah, hypothetical money is much purer.
Much more. It's much easier to think about. You guys have both obviously experienced every iteration of every size band, shape of it from a touring perspective, major labels, everything in between. And where you guys are at now as far as like being able to like literally exist on your own terms. Obviously you have people, agent, manager to be able to help you with these things to focus. Is it one of those things where it's like we look at the sum of your experiences being like, all right, like now this is the fully realized version of what Thursday is, even though, we did all these other things and like we're glad we did them, but like now this is the real pure uncut Thursday, so to speak.
I don't really think that way. They're just sort of different eras, and at some point there'll be a closing parentheses, and then we'll know what the shape of it all was. But for me, it's like I can look, for some reason this last week, this clip of us playing CBGBs in 2001 went kind of like mini viral again. And I see myself, 23 years ago playing CBGBs. And that was as pure too. You know what I mean? Like I meant it. I was passionate about it. It's all I cared about. And like there was an energy in the room and we didn't know how to play totally yet, but like we were sick. For a band that couldn't play, we were like chaotic, fun, jagged sounding band. And now we're kind of like a more stately, like elder band that can do a lot more musically than we used to. And the energy's very different. And we were talking about this last night. And it's just like, both are cool and they're just different. You know what I mean?
It's totally true.
I mean, I love the fact that you can have a band with this, arc of history. Because, like, I always joke that I've been in Thursday now longer than I've been in any other band in my life.
I know, which it's funny. You're still the new guy to me, even though it's like the most insane pop.
Texas was the blip, So it was like,
but it feels so immortal. It feels like he's always been in Texas.
It does.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it does. But it's interesting for me to kind of come in having been a witness to so much, even down to like, I helped make a movie about Thursday in 2006. So it's like I've really been nestled in the inside baseball of it all for a long time. And to be now nestled in the actual group and the creative process and all those things, it's a really unique perspective of looking at their history. And for me, it's just like, it's appreciative, it's awe. Like, obviously I can't keep a band going this long.
Yeah, if this is on you, they were done years ago.
Full collapse, done.
That's all we need.
Island comes in like, we want to sign you. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, we're done. Thanks for the offer.
Did it before, do it again.
So good.
That's why I love Norman so much.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it is important to be able to, like you said, view the whole spectrum, and then you get what you get out of all of these different eras, and ultimately it's just being like, this is great. We get to be as creative in this endeavor as long as we have. So
I had a lot more like assumptions before we got back together.
Yeah.
Sort of like, well, what it means now that we're broken up, we seem bigger than ever, and how do we preserve the legacy, and how do we do X, Y, and all these thoughts of controlling what people would think of Thursday. And Norman, to his credit, was always kind of like, you don't want to do that. Yeah, don't worry about that.
Don't care about that.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And like, we did all my plans in a year, and I was like, that's it. Like, let's break it back up, And kind of like the rest of the day, I was like, well, why?
Right. Because I said so? Right.
Well, I was just like, well, people won't keep liking us. Like it'll be like a year that people will like us, and then they'll decide to not like us anymore. And I want to like get away before that happens. Like I don't want to be like, I don't want the crowd to turn on me again like they did in X, Y, and Z year.
Sure.
And instead, like somehow more people keep discovering us, and we've become sort of this weird evergreen band that helped mold whatever's going on now.
Yeah.
And it's just very strange, and I'm glad that I've been able to get out of my own way, and I've also been able to cede control of a lot to people that I trust, and
Of course.
a much better way to do things.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
exciting because, like, even from when I started playing to now, the demographic of the audience has really shifted, and it's gotten a lot younger.
Way younger.
And, you know, these are people now that we meet after the shows waiting at the bus. They're like 18 years old, and they're just like super psyched. First time I've ever seen Thursday. Let's go, you know? And
Right.
that's fucking exciting to me.
Yeah, the fact that it's like there's an element of Thursday that is obviously a nostalgia act, but the fact that it's like you're pulling from all areas, not only age-wise, but the fact that it's like you can play a hardcore festival, you can play a pop punk festival, you can play an emo cruise, you can go anywhere, and like they're
Maybe we can't do a metal festival.
I mean, not a tried and true metal festival.
There were a few metal moments this last week in Europe where I was like, maybe we don't. Maybe we actually don't belong. Like actually don't belong here.
Maybe we should not think about, this particular
One of our
festival.
texts was like, you guys are just as heavy as most of these bands, though. Like, I don't get why you don't. I'm like, but as people, we're very soft.
Right.
It's true.
Like, we're like sweethearts.
Yes.
I'm not gonna professional wrestle my way up there. Like,
I mean, if any of you did that, like, that would be, like, so cringe-inducing of just people. Anybody that's ever watched Thursday would be like, what are they doing now? This festival in Europe? What? That's weird.
Hey, don't get it twisted.
Yes.
I can get sweet. I can get really street.
street business.
Yes.
But I am sweet. Yes, that's the thing.
That's actually, obviously, a t-shirt. Street but sweet, Thursday, Dove, done.
Fine.
No, it's Norman's personal brand. Thursday don't get this because we're not that street, but
You're
we're
not
also
that
not
street.
that sweet. We're kind of like,
You just gotta, like, lie right in the middle. That's perfect. That's perfect.
This show is sponsored by Betterhelp. Trust me in saying that life, obviously, it gets ridiculous. Like we're doing 9 million things. And the one thing that you forget to do is take care of yourself. That is why I personally am a huge advocate for therapy. I know for a fact when I went over to the UK, did this whole awesome festival thing at Outbreak, what did I do when I got home? Made sure I scheduled an appointment with my therapist. And that is why BetterHelp is such an incredible company, because they bring the therapy right to you remotely. It's awesome. And so if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's super flexible and convenient for your schedule. And you can switch therapists at any given time if you are not vibing with them. I actually had a friend that did BetterHelp therapy and met a person that was wearing like a Minor Threat t-shirt and was like, oh, hey. And like, so you just never know where these relationships will go. But please give BetterHelp a try because you need to take care of yourself. Let's go ahead and put these priorities at a different level. Like you're on top, everything else falls to the bottom. Maybe not everything else, but you get the point. Anyways, use this promo code. It's betterhelp.com/outbreak, the name of this very podcast, to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/outbreak for 10% off of your first month. Never skip therapy day. Try BetterHelp.
This is another, not hypothetical, but like pulling from your past. Like, you've obviously worked a lot of different jobs, a lot of side hustles, a lot of gig stuff in order to be able to pursue your art. I mean, I know like almost all of your history in regards to that, but obviously I'll ask this for the general public. When looking back at doing those things that enabled you to tour, play music, what were those gigs or jobs or whatever that you look back on where it was like, man, I was glad, like, that was cool, or alternatively, this was the worst, but I was glad that it at least gave me the opportunity to tour. So, putting that on.
I mean, I know my favorite worst job.
I love your favorite worst
My
job.
favorite worst job was I lived in Chicago, and I was I don't even know how to describe it. There wasn't really a title for it. So I worked for the Regional Organ Bank of Illinois.
Okay.
And I essentially wrote death narratives. So organs would come in,
Okay.
and then I would get a folder full of like autopsies, police reports, random family information, like, and I'm supposed to put it together in this cute little paragraph.
Okay.
That I don't know who gets this information, like, or why it's relevant, but they wanted to have this little narrative attached to every organ. And the thing is, I guess I was just shocked by how many people don't die now. Like, most of the deaths were tragic. Like, abusive, murder, like, hit by a train, like, just stuff where you're, like, just traumatized day after day after day. And so one day they had this, like, group meeting for everybody, sort of like a rah-rah kind of thing, but they brought in a person who had a transplant and a family member of the person who gave the organ for that transplant. And I realized that it was supposed to be a positive moment, but I freaked out. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I quit.
That is why I've never heard of any job resembling that. I mean, obviously you hear about obituary writers and stuff like that, but that's a whole different.
This, and you know, it would be really detailed stuff too. Like I really was really feeling dirty every day, like looking at some of this stuff. Just like,
Sure.
it's a lot. So that was the worst job I've done to get money.
Yeah.
When Norman told me that job, I was like, you should play on Thursday. Like, I think your psyche is ready.
You're like, listen, this the abusive encounter there. You're like, you'll fit right in.
You'll be keeping up with the Kardashians.
Woo! Obviously, you've said that before.
It's new.
It's
Just-
new.
and
It just came
all that
last night. I was like, our reality show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. That's it. We're here.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be hard to beat.
Yes.
I mean, the one I'm most fond of, I worked in a kitchen store between tours, like before we broke up. And I met like the love of my life there. She worked in food and she just came in to buy a spatula and it was like immediate. You know what I mean? It's just like immediate.
Yeah.
So I've always looked fondly on that job, even though it was a tough job.
Sure.
Like it was on Bedford and Brooklyn. We'd have like $20,000 days all the time. Just had a half basement where I was just like running around in the half basement like, I need more soda streams. You know.
Let me get this up. Yeah.
When we were starting Thursday, I worked in a CD factory and would do stuffing booklets into CDs for a penny a booklet. So if I could do 100,000 in a week, I could make $1,000 for tour. So that was pretty wild.
Dude.
And then right when we were dropping out of college to do Thursday full time, I had a professor who taught the class Poetry, Dance, and the Body. And he saw that I was like coming in late, being tired, not making it to class because I was like working so much. And he was like, I've got a really easy gig for you if you think you can do it. And it was writing like Penthouse forum letters.
I thought
I did that.
I thought you were gonna say that you were like the subject for the dance class.
Oh yeah.
No. Wow.
That dance class was very important to me developing my style on stage though. Yeah.
Right.
Like literally.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you wrote dirty letters.
Dirty letters. Yeah.
Yeah. But talk about
And he was like, don't worry about it. I'm gay. I don't even like, all these hetero sex scenes is ridiculous. But like,
you're like, I get to write the word throbbing member a lot.
it paid so well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. It was
Probably the highest I've ever been paid to write. And I've written for the New York Times.
You're like, that's perfect. These smut letters I was doing.
Yeah.
No problem. Pay the bills.
If I could only get that job back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you pump around, you'd probably find something.
Poke around.
Boom, boom. Thank you guys. I'll be here all week.
Is that new?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's called improv. That's yes anding.
That's all right. This was called a callback.
That's what, yes. In the industry, in the biz, that's what they call it. The last thing I'll ask you guys is the fact that, like, I'm giving you, because both of you have, again, extensive touring experience across the world, comparing and contrasting the things that either Europe or the UK does versus the United States. And we don't have to go into politics or socioeconomic things, but just like the things that Europe or the UK does differently to us that are to you, you're like, that's weird, why did they do that? And I don't like that, whatever. Or vice versa, where it's like, oh, they do it much better than we do it here in the States, or here in the States.
I mean, off the top of my head on this story, I'd say catering is way better.
Catering's yes.
The level of like actually healthy food and like tasteful food, like it's nice.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
There's more consistently they have catering.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just the vegan goulash.
Right. I've eaten so much lasagna and Beyond Burgers at home.
Yep.
Good with it.
Right. Yeah. You're like, I got this.
But other than that, I mean, I do think that there are things that I understand maybe why, like, for example, we don't get, like, 3 cases of water every night. Like, I could see why in Europe they don't do that.
Yeah.
But also, all the time, I'm really thirsty.
We're definitely dehydrated on this tour. We're always like, where is there water?
I'm not drinking water in
Where?
so long.
You're like, are we wringing this out of our towels? What are we doing?
We're like drinking so much Diet Coke.
Right.
Coca Light, you know?
Yeah, Coca
it's
Light.
Coke.
Yeah. Or the lemon Coke Zero. Have you guys had that?
We don't do Coke Zero, but
Dude. What? Is this really a hard stance, Jeff?
Oh no, we can
Okay.
go there.
All right. I mean, that's fine. That's
I
fine.
have opinions, but it's
Okay, we'll take that in our food podcast.
it's spicy.
It's we need to type 20 on that one. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Anything that springs to your mind?
I don't like the double-decker buses.
Do they creep you out?
I think they're better as a single layer
Oh,
because I bump my head all the time. Everything's so short on a double-decker bus that I'm just constantly slamming my head
okay.
all the time.
Right.
That is a very champagne-y problem to be having,
It's fine.
but
Right.
I think we got it right. Single layer, smaller lounge, standing up straight.
Right.
My posture's bad enough as it is.
Right. Just projector. Yeah. Be like, this is. I got enough space here.
I will say this, historically, what I love about Europe and the UK really is that there's still a good amount of people who support the scene, period. They go to every fucking show. They're like down for it. They show their enthusiasm. You don't always get that in every city under.
Yeah.
And so you feel it. It's different. And this is something that I've been feeling every year since the first time it came, like 1993. It was really like meeting people where you'd be like, oh, wow, I was in Shelter at the time. And I was like, oh, yeah, Shelter must be huge. But I'm like actually talking to kids in the audience who are like, well, we just come to every show.
Yeah.
Like, you're great.
Right.
We
Don't get
like
me wrong.
but-
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, thanks for coming.
but it's like, you came to Dortmund. Yeah, we're coming.
Of course. You made the effort to be here. We're going to be here.
Right.
And then we're obviously going to tell you your last record was better. So thanks for coming.
Yes, we've got certain things like that too.
Right. The classic German compliments. Classic. I mean, I'm sure you yourself have received a few German compliments. I mean, maybe not. Like maybe
They're a little
just-
more straightforwardly criticisms than
Right.
like they leave off the fun part.
They're just straight up.
Just like, no,
Why do you sing worse?
it's not good.
It's not good. It's not good. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you hanging out with me. I'll do the official handshake to signify
Heck
this
yeah.
this is over. Thank you
Right.
guys.
Thank you very much for listening. Please visit outbreak-fest.co.uk for more information about the festival. This podcast was brought to you by Squarespace and Betterhelp. Support the supportive. The show was edited by me, Ray Harkins, with video and editing help from Sofia Sourianou and Harvey Winstanley. Big shout out to both of them. Executive producers of the show are me, Ray Harkins, Sofia Sourianou, Ollie Horner, Tom Barton, and Jordan Coupland. Thank you very much for listening.